Coach, did you learn anything about coaching in the Big Ten last year that was different from the Big East?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest difference is the size, and not just. It's not a one-off thing. It's every night you're playing against big physical centers, big physical power forwards. I even thought the guard play was a little bit more physical. So I think the biggest thing I learned was that we had to be a little bit more athletic and a little bit more physical.
What is the importance of Maryland's history in basketball, and what do you draw on that?
I think it's really important for the fact that, if you look at starting with Lefty and then obviously Coach Williams, Mark, just a really big legacy of not only winning, but producing great players. And I think that's something that we've kind of drawn on, is bringing back our former players and trying to get them involved and getting our current players to understand it's not only the 2000s and the 1990s, but we've had some unbelievable players in the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
I don't know if you realize this, but you became the first coach in program history to achieve 20 wins, a national ranking, and a berth in the NCAA tournament your first season. What do you build? How do you build from that?
Great scheduling. We had a lot of bye games that helped get 20 wins. No, I think the biggest thing is I had a great group of players. Jameer Young, Dante Scott, Julian Reeses. Those three guys were guys that just kind of they wanted to put Maryland back on the map. And when you have guys like that and you can lean on your players and it's more about them, I think it's a lot easier to rebuild a program when you have great character in your program. And that's kind of what Dante, Julian, and Jameer brought us. He brought great character, great work ethic. And I think that was the reason we were able to kind of turn the corner so quickly.
Share with us Julian Reeses' maturation, because I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Julian's still young. I mean, he just turned 20 last month. And so, if you think about the fact that, his sophomore year, he's going up against some of the best centers in college basketball. I think that was great for him. He got beaten down a little bit early on with some of the guys he went against, but he has an unbelievable work ethic, and he is a very smart IQ for the game. Okay. And I think when you add that work ethic, you add the fact that he learned what it's like to go against Zach Edey twice, what it's like to go against Hunter Dickinson twice. He had to go through those guys a bunch of times. I think it gave him great confidence that he can do it. I think he also learned a lot about his game, about what he had to do to go against those guys. And he's just a very smart player, but he's an unbelievable worker.
So in order to capitalize from last season, what do you need to focus on this season?
I think the biggest thing for us is, Jameer Young's going to be much more comfortable in the league. Mm-hmm. I've already seen that in practice. He just has a much better feel for about what he can do when he goes down the lane, what it's going to be like going against on the road in the Big Ten. I think for us, we wanted to add physicality. We added Jordan Geronimo as a transfer that gave us great athleticism, great physicality. For us to take that next step, I just thought the roster had to become more like a Big Ten roster, and I think we've done that. I think we've added some great pieces. We have our freshman class is as good as it gets. So for us, it was about more, adding to the roster and giving the roster a little bit more depth so that we could be a little bit more successful in the Big Ten.
In this era of NIL and transfer portal, have you found it more challenging or easier to build at a place like Maryland?
I've actually found it a lot more difficult because I thought, we are in one of the best recruiting grounds in the DMV. We have unbelievable high school talent, unbelievable AAU coaches, high school coaches. NIL has really thrown a loop into it where schools that couldn't come in and recruit the DMV can now come in because it's not about what they're offering basketball-wise, but what they're, really what they're offering money-wise. So it's made it a little bit more difficult because you have to kind of balance out what schools coming in can now do that would not have been able to come in and recruit the DMV.
So I'm going to give you a scenario. Let's say it's next season and there's 4 more teams in the league, and you're trying to describe to Oregon or Washington, what is Maryland basketball? What would you tell them?
Yeah, I think we are a physical, tough, fun-playing bunch of dudes. We like to have fun, but we play hard and we play physical. We get after you, full court. I think, it's hard to describe the way we play because I think a lot of people don't understand what we do defensively, which is, I don't know what we do defensively most of the time. I'm, just kind of yelling and waving my hands. But, we try to put a lot of confusion in teams. So we just, we like to have fun. I think if you ask my players, we like to have fun out there and play hard and just let it ride.
If you did have some free time, what would you be doing?
More than likely watching my son play baseball. It's a labor of love to watch, a 17-year-old play baseball for 2.5 hours out in the sun. It's a lot of fun, and I'm very passionate about it. It's so much fun watching baseball for 3 hours a day. But that's what I do. Whenever I have free time, it's family time.